I really don't know how it is July already, and I've been really conscious of not voicing out how the year is passing. I mean, it really does feel like Christmas was just 5 minutes ago, and I was giving all the best laid plans for the year ahead, and already we are going into the 7th month of the year. There's been pattern releases, there's been yarn shows, there's been workshops. I thought it would be nice actually to spend a little time with you today doing a little mini review as I tidy up the craft room, as you just saw. Interesting is some of the questions it poses are things to reflect on, how I've felt during the year, what I've learned so far. And I thought I would share those musings with you over a coffee. It's all right, we're not going to be up here for long because it's hot already, but this room is a bit of a state, and I wanted to gather. I like to keep a sort of an archive of my business, including lots of lovely things like the booklets I get when I attend a show, and I want to reflect on some of the things that I've managed well, some of the things I've managed not so well, because there's a lot of reality going on at the moment. So yeah, I think the best idea is to start with what I wrote back at the start, 6-7 months ago at the start of the year, with my best laid plans. It's been as part of my mid-year review and thinking about what my goals are that I set, thinking about my best intentions, because that's what they were. They were intentions. I wouldn't say that they were resolutions as such, but my predictions, at least for myself and maybe for a lot of us in this community, were taking time to return to slow intentional making. That was my kind of, I hate the word of the year thing, but slow making was the concept in my mind of what I wanted to be focusing on. And I think it resonated with quite a lot of people. I did do did a few videos of just crocheting and chatting, and I really enjoyed it. I was talking about the shift and how it wasn't necessarily about shouting out about crochet, and I didn't want to be constantly working. I wanted to have more fun with my craft. I wanted to really kind of drill down into lots of different techniques and share my own skills and enjoy my craft again. So I wrote, it is stepping away from the constant output. Well, best laid plans and all that. Using craft as a comfort. And that is most definitely something I've been leaning into this year. I've written the words projects that feel like exhaling. And I have to say, there have been some I'm really pleased with all of the projects that I've made this year, and I've actually found many of them quite addictive, making multiples of things. And if you know me of old, it's not often I can make more than 2 of something when I've written the pattern especially not under pressure. And I do feel that this year already my crochet output has actually been higher because I've taken the pressure off. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Oh, the next one was making with purpose, not pressure. So fewer projects, putting more love into every stitch, and definitely pieces and projects that are designed to last, not to trend. This one for me is still something I really struggle with, and it kind of feeds into my love-hate relationship with social media. I am a terrible person for dealing with comparison. I'm very fortunate that I'm not big enough or, my crochet designs aren't they haven't been stolen, to be honest, which is great. And I don't really want to go viral for a pattern for that reason, because mentally I don't think I have the capacity to deal with someone stealing my designs. But definitely, personally, I found that taking my time over my craft, making time to craft, and almost sometimes forcing myself to sit still and get on with it has been something. God, you can see this has been on a hanger, sorry. And kind of sit down and making myself craft with the best intentions. So A, to get something done, or to actually sit still and stop rushing. Definitely something I would like to do more of. So not rushing to finish, no algorithm chasing. Yeah, this is crochet as a grounding practice. Most definitely I have found joy and comfort in my crochet again. I'm not going to lie, of course I've been rushing. I mean, this is me. I can't change who I am and how my brain works, but I definitely feel like setting time to crochet rather than crocheting for the sake of getting something done, been much more intentional with doing that. I'm very pleased about that because I do love this craft. Like, there's a reason why I've made this my job. Let's be honest about it. So home-centered making. Well, this is a bold statement because crochet lives at home. So blankets. I don't think I've made a blanket yet this year. I don't think I will be honest with you. Wear forever garments. Definitely I am still obsessed, and I have a multitude of ideas. I cannot crochet fast enough when it comes to designing garments. Because the second garment of this year is just, I think it's second garment, it's just about to launch next week. And oh my God, I'm obsessed. I'll talk about that a little bit later, and definitely pieces made for daily rituals. I'm looking at some of my previous designs and have found repeating them has been very cathartic and reinforcing that I am good at this and I can do it, etc., etc. Probably going to be revealing a lot of my inner thoughts today. And then I've got community over comparison. Definitely I'm still dealing, shall we say, with a lot of my emotions around getting stuff done, and not comparing myself to other businesses, comparing myself to other designers and their achievements. I'm very much trying to stay in my lane and really focus on what I've achieved, because it's been a lot and I don't know how some people do things, but that's on them. I still have a job outside of this. It's only part-time. I still run a group. I run a couple of groups actually. I'm still getting ill. What I really like is that bottom statement on that slide that I created way back in January, which is making together even when alone. And excuse my voice going already, but I definitely already feel such a huge sense of community for 2026 for myself. The community is so important for me. And although I'm not as present in my own Facebook community group as I could be, time is all. I only have the amount of time that I have, and I only have the energy level that I have. I'm very pleased with what I have been creating in my own little community, both online and in real life. So a new kind of success. Success looks like joy, calm, creative fulfillment, not speed, not volume, and not burnout. Well, we know I've already had a break this year, so that goes to show that my personality is unfortunately geared towards overworking, overcommitting, and that's okay. I'm learning to manage that the best way that I can, like taking breaks. And I have written in one of my goals that taking a holiday was actually a goal of mine and stepping away completely. And I did. I mentioned in my comeback video after my holiday that one of the hardest things that I struggled to kind of appreciate was how long it would take me to snap out of the work mode. It was quite shocking, actually. I was quite like, this is mad. It took me a full 3 days to relax into the holiday mode, and it was only a 7-day holiday. And unfortunately, due to commitments, I was straight back to everything. Again, lessons to be learned, and I definitely want to keep reflecting on that and getting better at it. But yeah, so this year we make slowly. We choose intention over intensity. We create because it feels good. And at the end of this section, which is a slow start to 2026, there was the intention to start slowly. And although I haven't been able to maintain that, I feel very good with what has been created, what I have created, what the community is creating, and I'm extremely pleased to be moving into the next 6 months. They are going to be busy, but it's going to be amazing. So my overview of my commitments or my resolutions, whatever you want to call them, for 2026, they are not perfect. I'm not perfect. Funnily enough, I am human, but I definitely feel good about what's been achieved. And more importantly, I am very happy with the patterns that have been released. So rather than just say, oh, look what I've made so far this year, because actually I'm quite impressed with the amount that I have made, I've got a little list here of some of the things that I answered in my half-year review. For me, 2026 was not all about new, all day, every day. I'm not a trend setter. I'm certainly not a trend chaser. I mean, anyway, I do feel that the designs have almost been like chapters in the year, and every single design has pushed me creatively. And as always, when I'm designing, I'm thinking about what people are learning with this design. It might be a stitch pattern, it might be a new technique. So looking back over the previous 6 months, yes, there have been design releases, but I've also enjoyed refreshing some older patterns as well and reviving them with new yarns, or working and collaborating with other small businesses to refresh them. It's been quite an exciting year, actually. Going all the way back to January, I started the year with quite a challenging project, both because it was a stitch pattern that I'd never used before, so I had to master it, and then couldn't help but design some really nice accessories to go with it. And I am still obsessed with this Celtic weave. I would love to make another cable blanket at some point, but it was a bit of a challenge for me, and I wanted to make a smaller design that wouldn't overwhelm someone, so they were quick to make and they would be comfortable and easy and practical to wear. So the Celtic weave headband and wrist warmers, which they are in this room, I think. Oh no, they're not. They're in the sample in storage. But it was a design that I feel is a challenge for people. God, I'm getting hot. Let me open the window. Oh, does that mean it's too hot up here already? Might have to go downstairs. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, what a breeze. You'll probably see my curtain now flapping at me, sorry, but hey ho. So the Celtic weave headband and wrist warmers was designed as an introductory kind of little mini pattern, really, because they're both small projects, quite quick to make, and the headband is available as a video tutorial, just so that people can try out another, I suppose, more popular cable design before going into more of my cable designs as well. Because of course, well, I'm going to talk about the bestsellers a little bit later, because it's always interesting to me to see what's popular with you as opposed to what I love. I mean, I love all my designs, but unfortunately the way my brain works, I'm always thinking on the one that's next releasing. So for me to reflect back and recognise that each of the designs released this year is almost like a little bit of a chapter. But thinking about how I've been able to make multiples of the same thing, that really hit me in February with the release of the We Love Granny cushion. Originally, it just started out as I always like to do something for Valentine's Day that's heart-shaped or that kind of thing. And over the years, there's been key rings, there's been pillows, there's been little wall hangings, always generally a homeware accessory, because I do like to decorate for the holidays. I made a couple of extra hearts to do some photography with. In this image here, you can see the 3 of them in 3 colours. And then I was like, oh my God, I could just make loads of them and put them on a cushion. And all of a sudden, the concept went from just a simple heart granny square into a finished project. And that was when I was really taking time to craft and not focusing so much on all the other things that were coming up, basically. And it was the first time in a long time that a pattern has grasped me like that, if you know what I mean. Like normally I just make something and set it and forget it. But then I went on to really kind of delve into micro crochet. And I really, really enjoyed trying out a new technique, I suppose you could call it, even though people were saying, oh, it's not that micro. For me, it was tiny. I've going from working with a 5mm hook all the way down to a 2mm hook. You can see my experience with micro crochet in the video that I've linked below. But I really enjoyed it. And I still yet haven't made a granny square. And I have finally put away all the crochet cotton back on the top of the wardrobe. One of the things that I am definitely super proud of so far this year is the opportunity to work with other small businesses. And that all kicked off in March, well, before March, but a previous collaboration that I'd done with the very talented Joanna of High Desert Yarn back in, I'm going to say 2024. I don't even know what year it was. It must have been 2024. We released a collaboration using her hand-dyed yarn. And as a crocheter, a lot of the time it can feel expensive to use hand-dyed yarn. It can feel quite scary about knowing how that yarn is going to work up in our crochet stitches. And the collaboration we had for the Autumn Poppy collection, we both felt so passionate about encouraging more crocheters to treat themselves to hand-dyed yarn and give it a go and make something pretty. So when I had the idea and approached Joanna about putting our designs into print, she was so excited, and having those conversations with her and her receiving her first copy of the printed book was just so exciting. We are still trying to iron out the printing process in America, but I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks that will be resolved. So out of my now ridiculously 7 books published, the Autumn Poppy is already in the top 3 for books sold in 2026, which I'm very proud of, and I hope that Joanna is very happy with that as well. It's been really nice to see people's reaction to seeing my samples. Obviously I don't have Joanna's samples. I may have to stitch them up in some other yarn, which is a good way of actually using up my stash. But it was really nice to see people's reaction, to some socks in crochet. Yes, they are slipper socks, I understand that, but seeing people react to the beanie and the colourways and how beautiful the skeins turn into in different colours. I just love seeing people's reaction to that, because it gives them confidence to go and treat themselves to a couple of nice skeins of yarn of hand-dyed. Because if you are a crocheter, it can feel, at a yarn show, I've previously felt that the posh yarn, the hand-dyed stuff isn't really for me. More hand dyers are showing samples in crochet, and I've obviously done, last year I made a sample for another stand in one of my patterns, and it's just really nice to see that we deserve posh stuff, we deserve posh yarn, and for us not to feel quite so scared of it. I hope that that book kind of bridges the gap between crochet and hand-dyed yarn, and I think it has, judging by the sales, which is lovely. Can I talk about the design that left me most nervous so far this year? Because I did use some posh yarn, and this kind of goes all the way back to, when did we do that? March? At Textiles in Manchester, I met Caroline of Unique Yarns, and she had the most gorgeous colourway that I've ever seen, and I was just finishing up a sample, or I had a pattern going into testing, and I was like, oh, I could do a posh sample in some nice yarn. I was so nervous about stitching up this design in a different size, in a different yarn, different fibre, because even I get nervous about those things. I never know if a pattern's going to work out in a different fibre. This is one of the reasons I have a testing process, is to encourage my testers to try out different fibres, different yarn different yarns, different, so we can see how the different sizes turn out and how the pattern looks in different fibres. So I originally made my sample, as you can see here, in acrylic. The yarn I used from Caroline, Yarn Unique, let me have a look, what was it called? It was Silky Sock, I think it was Silky Sock, which was, I can't remember the blend now, that's how my brain's gone. And I think the colourway captures the name of the confetti wave so much more than my original did. My original was more confetti, and the second sample I made for my stand, because I think it's too beautiful to wear, is definitely more wave coloured and more beachy colours. God, I love it. It's like sea glass colours. It really is absolutely beautiful. When that pattern launched in April, it was at the Spring into Wool show, and oh my God, I loved every second of that show. The organisers of that show they're just unbelievable. I just absolutely love everything about their shows. They're so well organised, but they're so inclusive, and I just really like them. But it was an amazing launch, and I was so grateful for everybody who picked up their copy, who bought it either online that weekend or who actually purchased it in person as well. It was just great. I loved it. I'm so proud of that release, most definitely. But I was definitely nervous about stitching it up in that yarn, and I did actually run out So I ended up making the sleeves 3/4 lengths. It's fine, it's for a sample, but if that had been me in real life, I would have been very, very stressed. I think I would have to say that the pattern that I'm most proud of has to be the Fuji bag, which only launched just a few short weeks ago. It launched on the weekend of the Wool Monty show. And there was a pre-sale because I was organised and everything was ready, so that people can get their hands on the kits as well. So not only did I launch the pattern itself, which I absolutely love this design. It's almost verging on a saddle bag, but it's not as big as a saddle bag would be. I was most excited and most proud to arrange an importation of the yarn that I wanted to use. So it took quite a lot of time to find the specific yarn I wanted, the quality of the cotton, the feel of it, the stability of it as well. The colour that the original sample was made in, the indigo, sold out. It is completely sold out. I am hoping I've got more coming today. But I cannot tell you how that made me feel. Seeing a colourway sell out, nearly sold out at the show, the amount I took. And by the time I got back, I had sold out of the indigo. I do have a very limited amount coming in, ready for the next show. And I'm waiting for my supplier to get hold of some more as well. In the meantime, my very good friend Julie has been stitching up some more samples for me in the other colourways, because when it's a new to you yarn, it's hard to know what that colourway is going to look like. So already we've got 2 samples stitched up in the sunny, two more samples stitched up in the Sunny Days bag pattern, which uses just about 2 balls. And then we've got a few more colours of the Fuji bag itself. I do have to say I'm very proud of my other version of the Fuji bag, which I made using, it's still here behind me. I stitched up using the Unicorn Dreams that I got hold of from Knotted by Nish at the Wool Monty a couple of weeks ago. My attempts to make a top did not work with this yarn. It was just a me thing. I've heard other people are fine with it, but I could not do it. So definitely I'm very proud of my sparkly Fuji bag, because it has just been featured, semi-featured, on the Hobbycrafts social media. They shared one of my reels of I made some fans for the Harry Styles concert that I went to last week. I do work part-time at Hobbycrafts, so #ad, staff discount, all of that kind of stuff. So I bought some stuff, made some fans for me and my friend, and they were very much needed in that horrendous heat wave. So yeah, very, very proud of the Fuji bag, not only from you guys being as obsessed with it as I am, through to selling out those kits and seeing your bags photos coming through just makes me so, so happy. So what's the pattern that you guys have loved so much so far this year? Well, what a surprise. It's the same as always. It's the cable and crossed cardigan. So far this year, that has been the biggest seller, followed very closely by the Wrapped in Diamond sweater that released October last year, maybe September last year. I am not unhappy with that at all, because it's currently the height of summer. And what's really interesting is, even though we've only just hit summer, the best-selling book is the Hooked on Summer book, which is full of 12 different patterns for summer, and that's sold really, really well, which I'm really proud of. I love all the designs in that book. Very interestingly, the Cable Comforts crochet along that we did back in summer 2025, so last year, has been creeping up the charts as well. That is in the 2nd place so far for this year. They're all much for muchness, to be fair. There isn't much between them, but the Hooked on Summer is definitely peaking at the moment, and I'm so proud of that. And I do like to see, you know, what is in the top 5. There's one other thing I want to mention, and that is the pattern that's taken the longest. Now, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, because it's also what's coming next. I just grabbed a hanger, because one of the things I need to do today is to finish off this sample. This is the pattern that's releasing next week. I wore it in my last video, not this size, this is the smaller size. And there's the end, because it is me. Yeah, this is going to be the Valoria lace top. And I cannot tell you It has taken the longest to make. Where can I put it? Is it going to sit there? And if I tell you that it's actually over a year to get this completed and working and perfect. But that's all I'm going to say, because next week I'm going to be talking about this pattern exclusively in my next video, because it is officially launching next Friday. I'm getting messages from all over the place every time I wear it in a video, which just makes me, oh, I could cry. Makes me so happy. I am so in love with this design, and it has taken, this is possibly the longest it has ever taken me to get a design finished and done, photographed, ready, checked, tested, edited, graded, all of the things, and I absolutely have loved, that's a lie. It was in the naughty bin for at least 6 months, but it's coming and I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited by it because, oh God, there's just so much I'm excited for when it comes to that design. So thinking about the cable and cross cardigan and how that was a bestseller, knowing that you guys have been messaging me and emailing me about getting your hands on the Velouria top, I do want to mention how excited I get every time I get an email, especially if you attach a photo. My inbox this year has been fuller than ever with your projects. My socials, I've been tagged in things. And if I tell you how much it blows my mind receiving an email saying, here's my first granny square, here's my first cushion, it is beyond anything that I can share with you, because A, it means that my video tutorials are successful for helping people get beyond something they might get stuck with. I have found the comments on my videos and things have been a lot more positive. You know, and it brings me full circle to the in real life at the yarn shows and meeting people as well. I just feel very lucky to be able to do this and share my joy and my passion with everybody, because it just makes my heart sing with pride when someone brings my pattern to life and shares their excitement over completing it with me. It really does. Some of the absolute highlights I've already mentioned, which is receiving the emails from the granny squares. We had a session at our Fibre Art Friends group where everyone made the Trinity wall hangings, the Trinity plant hangers, and they're obsessed. They're still making them. They've all gone to Hobbycraft and bought more of Return of the Back. And that's just a few of the things to showcase. We've had cardigans, we've had shawls, I've had so many different things in my inbox, and I absolutely love every second of it. At this point, it is worth mentioning my amazing pattern testers, because of course they are the people that bring my pattern to life the first time, and they've been working their little fingers to the bone, I tell you, because they've been making baskets with the not knitted baskets, they're making garments, we've got bags, we've had all sorts of things that are coming up later in the year as well, and they really step up and help me make sure that the patterns are understandable, that they're correct. A huge mention to my editor as well, because I'm making her work as well. Meeting people in real life in this community, I cannot express how amazing it is. I've mentioned before that at times I do find things a little bit overwhelming. And I'm really bad at recognising people, and I can't help, that's just who I am. So if we've met before, please tell me, because I do forget, and I don't mean to, it's just the way I am. I mean, I've had the chance to meet up with people that I've met at previous shows. I've seen a few people twice already this year, where they've been maybe in Blackpool and then I saw them again in Manchester. Oh, it was just wonderful. I think obviously my highlight so far in the first 6 months of this year has to be the opportunity I had to meet my own cousin, which I hadn't seen, I don't know, if we'd even met in real life before, I don't know, but got to meet my cousin. That was an absolute highlight of East Anglia Yarn Festival as well. East Anglia, I also received a beautiful gift in this beautiful crochet hook, and it's absolutely treasured. I'm going to, one of the things I need to do is reorganise my shelves, and I have my hook rainbow here. And I must admit, these are just for show now, because they are just the prettiest hooks from Furls Crochet. But I do feel that I need to put in my Easter rabbit hook into my hook rainbow. So I suppose that's a really good a segue, I believe they call it in the biz, because not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Let's be completely honest. Not everything has gone to plan so far this year. Already there's been pattern releases that have had to be pushed back. And I will be honest, the likelihood of me getting my own Christmas book finished ready for this Christmas is not happening. So it's probably going to go back to 2027. And there have been some things gone wrong in patterns as well. And as much as I love to shy away from this because my personality type is very much a perfectionist, unfortunately things do go wrong. And I am forever grateful when someone reaches out and lets me know that something isn't right. Because if I don't know, I can't correct it. I must admit, I will let you know that I want you to tell me if there is something wrong. I've always said this since day one. I don't receive it very well, but I'll always make sure I make it right. So it's a huge trigger for me when something isn't right, mainly because I do take quite a number of steps to try and avoid this from ever happening. Over my years of designing, believe it or not, we are in year 7 now, I think. I've had a number of different pattern editors, and my pattern writing style has changed. Even the popularity of the crochet terms that I've used has changed as well. I've got to stop saying because I will cut some of those out for you. There are, of course, things that have stayed consistent since day one, and that's making sure that my patterns are size inclusive, making them as easy to understand as possible, and using the correct terminology, using, the classical style of pattern writing, and making sure that you have all the information you need to recreate the pattern. As I've mentioned, I love it when people reach out to let me know something is not correct. However, I do appreciate it more when people are kind about it. I feel like sometimes I need to remind people that I'm not a yarn company. I'm just me. There is just me in this spare bedroom, in a corner of the spare bedroom, to point that out as well. And I do have other commitments. I am realistically just a human. There is only me, and I do feel that everyone should be treated with respect. And if something has gone wrong, or you feel that something isn't fair of what's happened, then speak to that person in whatever situation in life with respect, and maybe not accusatory. I've had a couple of emails and messages this year that have really rocked me. I'm at the anger stage now because they're dealt with. It's over. It was April. April was one of the worst ones for me. But anyway, I'm not going to give the ins and outs of it. They may well be watching, and I hope they are. And I hope that their tutor has helped them learn more. Police. The sound of the police. Anywho, so I've had to do a reprint on a pattern. So there was an error found in the Gloriosa sweater. So again, it's quite a popular pattern. It has sold quite a lot in the last year since it's been printed, and that makes me feel bad because I have systems in place to be able to send out corrections as and when they are needed, or updates. So with the Gloriosa sweater, somehow, at some point, something has gone wrong in this pattern, and it's not a new pattern. I think it originally published in 2022. Since 2022, it might have even been designed for this, actually. So it went through editing initially. It was then featured in a magazine where it was retested, re-edited, and published. Since then, I have then put it to print. And perhaps my mistake was I did not remake another sample. But anyway, an error was found. The neckline was reversed on one of the sides. I think it was, in theory, it's quite an easy correction, like most people would be able to work it. But for me, it's a really good opportunity when I'm told about a mistake, is because it's an older pattern, I'll get it regraded, re-edited, and check everything through, make sure that it's up to my current standard of styling as well and readability. It's just, I find it really strange that up to that point, no one has ever told me there's a problem with this pattern. So they either figure it out or they just think I'm a really bad designer, and that makes me feel bad. And that's the way my brain works. To give you a bit of an insight in that. Anyway, I am accepting that these things happen. Obviously, from my point of view, it's an expensive mistake because those print versions have to go in the bin. They get recycled and I have to reprint, which I have done. My system is that once I've received the corrected pattern, it's rechecked again, it's uploaded directly into Ravelry and into my shop so that I can then send out updates to those patterns. So if you've purchased it off of Ravelry or off my own shop, that is automatically emailed out to you, so you have the most up-to-date version. This is why that this year I've made a bit of a decision to step back from Etsy, because there is no way legally that I can send you a new version of the pattern and we don't get your email addresses from Etsy, etc, etc. I do have to say that the way that error was raised for the Gloriosa sweater was absolutely wonderful. She was lovely and very gracious. So it's now error-free. It's been regraded, but on my errata page on my website, where I do list any mistakes that have been made and found, I can't list all the errors that were found because it's a whole chunk of pattern. So if you have purchased the Gloriosa sweater specifically from me in the last year or so, please send me an email. I'm going to send you a new copy because it makes me feel bad that you're sat there looking at a pattern and think, why can't I make this? It's not you. There's an error. There was an error. Needless to say, the new version is in the shop now and it's literally perfect. So thank you. Yeah, not all sunshine and rainbows. People aren't always nice, and that's okay. At the end of the day, they've purchased a pattern, there's an error in it, but that's because it's been made by a human. And we're not talking about that either, because that whole subject is too big for me. Looking ahead, so there are still 6 months of the year left. There are 6 months of the year left. I have no intention, well, that's rubbish. Because I'm about to say, without pushing myself too much, are you kidding me? In the next 2.5 months alone, I've got 5 massive yarn shows that I'm very excited for. The next one is next week, which is the Midlands Wool Show, alongside a new pattern release, which is actually ready. It is ready to go. I need to pack up my stock and get that ready for the show as well. I've got another pattern that is currently in testing. That'll be finished, ready for August. And I've got some more designs on the go that you're not even going to see until 2027. We've got more yarn shows and we've got workshops. So if I haven't told you about the workshops yet in this video, which I don't think I have, one of the highlights so far this year is my good friend Anne Miller moving to a new, bigger, brighter yarn shop. And she's created a craft space in the back, and I get to teach crochet workshops there. It has been an absolute pleasure to go so much more into crochet workshops. I had a great year last year with my workshops, bar one, and this year so far, they're all doing well. I've got two workshops this month, 2 in August, and then I'm actually getting to do workshops at one of the yarn shows this year, which is Summer Wool Show at the end of July. This month, oh my God, we're already in July. I keep forgetting. The workshops have been an absolute standout moment so far this year. Being able to reach out to local people as well is so important to me. We already do so much at Fibre Art Friends, which I'm so grateful for. We're already working on our own Christmas display for 2026, after our successful 10-foot Christmas tree made of granny squares last year, doing something a little bit different, and we've already started, which is very exciting. Also coming up, we've got a couple more collaborations actually. I'm getting to work with the wonderful Charlie of Noodle Soup Yarns. Just trying to think, I've got the yarn just over there. With these wonderful melted colours. I absolutely love this. What's this one called? Melty Monster Galaxy, which I am going to be using is it tomorrow? I think I'm planning on filming with this one tomorrow. So this pattern's nearly ready as well. Another small accessory for you for autumn, which is going to be aiming, I think, releasing in September. So I am trying to keep a little bit ahead of myself. I'm also getting to stitch up a new design in some amazing yarn. I think I've showed you that already as well. That is my next project on my to make list. Let me grab that envelope. This actually arrived last week and I've not opened it yet. I'm sure she sent me the right colour. Oh yeah. And it is again some lovely knotted by Nish yarn. I already have one caked up, and this is for my project. And this is that beautiful alpaca cotton cloud sport. I've been calling it cotton wool. Oh no, that's the other one. Oh, that's something else. Yes, alpaca cotton cloud sport. So it's a sport weight yarn, but it works up almost closer to a double knit when you're working with crochet. And you can, the lighter colour you see running through it is actually cotton. Yeah, Pima cotton at that as well. You know, I'm a posho when it comes to my cotton. It smells amazing. Doesn't smell of vinegar. How wonderful. So yes, I've got 4 skeins of that to make a larger project. Very excited. So there is still so much to come. My goals have not changed. I just know, and I knew, that the July, August, September and October are going to be my busiest months of the year. So I have been working hard to try and get ahead in certain areas. And you know what? It's worked quite well. I am actually very proud of, oh, hello curtain. I am actually very proud of all that I've achieved already in 2026. But one of the things I am very proud of is our community right here. I'm so grateful to have you here. So do share with me what's been your highlight so far this year. Have you made a project that you're super proud of? Have you made a mistake that you want to put behind you? You can share with us and we will help you move on beyond. And I would love to know what's next for you in 2026. This has been a bit of a whistle-stop tour. I was hoping it would be less chatty, I'm sorry. But it's really nice to sit and take the opportunity to chat with you and have a coffee. Mine is now finished. Might go and get another. So I'm going to quickly get this edited and uploaded for you. And I'm going to, get blown away. I'm going to see you, I moved it, hang on. So I'll see you next week for the next video where I'm going to be talking in depth about the upcoming pattern release of the Velouria lace top.